Welcome to another episode on our channel. I haven't showed you all of my Hot Toys figures yet. I'm getting close to being done. There are some I've had for some time now and just haven't shown you for whatever reason. I don't even know myself, but I'm going to show you in a bit my favorite 1/6 scale figure of Iron Man. But before I do, this is the one that would have been my absolute favorite because it represents the last time we would see Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man in the Endgame. And this is an awesome figure. It's well made. It's substantial. It's heavy. He can stand on his own, no problem. I tend not to pose in this way, basically for one reason, and it's because he is larger than 1/6 scale. So if you take a regular 1/6 scale figure here, like Captain America, and you put them back to back, you can tell he looms over Captain America. I'm not sure why they did this, but I was disheartened when I noticed it. His face looks larger than all my other 1/6 scale figures. I really didn't, I mean, if they wanted to do it with 1/4 scale, that would make sense. But I didn't really want something in between, 1/6 scale and 1/5 scale. So the only way I thought I could pose him was really kneeling, as in his death scene on the Endgame. And that's what I've done over the years, is I've just posed him basically this way. Trying to find a sweet spot here. There we go. There we go. Getting there. There we go. Now, and I pose him next to Spider-Man because I have found a Kotobukiya figure, which isn't typical Kotobukiya. It's strange how this happened to work out this way. So we have Iron Man that is basically larger than what he should be. And when I got this Kotobukiya Spiderman, he was larger. Usually Kotobukiya is slightly smaller than Hot Toys figures or regular 1/6 scale figures. Their statues are slightly smaller, but this guy, he was large. And he just seemed out of place until I figured out, hey, these two don't really compete with each other. They look about right, especially if you kind of move him a little more forward, kind of have him a little more turned to the side. They just look very nicely together. So let me move him back so you can get maybe a more full view of them together. I think this works. So he would have been my favorite figure if he was indeed 1/6 scale instead of slightly taller than 1/6 scale. But I kept him because I ended up getting this Spider-Man, and when I realized they don't compete with each other, I said, okay, I'll keep both of them, So that worked out fine. So let me move these guys out of the way and show you what we're going to talk about today. But I do love that Iron Man. I just wish he was 1/6 scale. And I wish this Kotobukiya figure was smaller as well. So the figure that is my favorite Iron Man is actually this one. The first one you saw just a second ago is Iron Man 85, Battle Damage Deluxe version. This one is Iron Man 47. and it's from the Spider-Man Homecoming movie. So let me put him away for a second and show you the box. I got him from Sideshow a number of years ago. So here's the box that my favorite Iron Man comes in, and I got it from Sideshow a number of years ago, and they typically protect the box. What I really love about the box is not necessarily the artwork, although that's good, but it comes in full. So we'll pause. Let me get the foam piece out and show you what's on the inside of this box. We'll be right back. So I love that it comes with foam. The bad thing is that it comes with foam and a black clamshell. So this part opens up. And there are a ton of things on the top and a ton of things on the bottom. So it really is packed with accessories. So what I want to do is pause, get everything out, not waste your time in terms of taking things out of the box, and just show you what's inside the box. I tend not to pose it, the actual figure with very much. So we'll be right back. When I said he was accessorized, he is really accessorized. He has a helmeted head, and there is some articulation to it. It's not overly articulated, but you can get some movement here. This head, where you can put the mask on or take it off and have that empty look, it will only, twist in one direction or the other. It won't go up or down. But that's a cool effect if you want that effect. He comes with fisted hands. He comes with hands that the fingers will move with. So these hands. But they go straight down, so the hands are straight down. And then he has fingers that move, but the hands are kind of angled up. You'll see when we get that figure out. He, not unlike this one here, where it's just angled up. So these have thrusters or propulsion items on them, as if he's lifting himself into the air, along with things that can be put on his feet to, again, send him into the air. He has pieces for his shoulders that can replace the similar piece that really doesn't have any gadgetry showing like it does here. This is kind of a cool effect. And for his forearms, you can actually replace a couple pieces that have little tiny rockets on them. I don't know if you can see that really nicely here, but they're there, the rockets. It's a cool effect. He comes with glasses. If you want to put that on the actual head sculpt of Tony Stark, you can. So they're kind of tinted blue, the lenses, black frames. He does have a drone. And if you really want it to be fancy, you can put these thrusters or propulsion items in and attach this thing at the end to kind of look like it shot out of the drone. And there are two of these things. The problem is that, these things, you have to wiggle them on, and whether they stay or not, it's one of those things. With so many animals in the house, I would be afraid on cue it happened. It just it fell on the head of our Rottweiler. She didn't do anything to it. She didn't even move hardly. Are you out of it, Samantha? I think she is. So I would not likely use this stuff, but if you did want to use the drone and those pieces, then what you have to do is with the stand that originally comes like this, right? You'd have to take that piece out. You'd have to put this piece over it. Then you would have to put this piece back in. And then this piece here that would hold the drone would go on this end here. It would screw in. I'm not going to do it because I'm not going to pose them that way. But then you find the two pegs on this flatter end, and you look for the peg holes at the bottom of the drone, and you just kind of snap it into place. And then it'll go on to that piece. And then you can pose it any way you see fit. And then if you want, you can put all those fancy things on it. Yeah. So it has look, right? I'm not going to do that. And I'm probably not going to use the stand because the stand is really flashy. And my complaint is when you get a flashy stand, to me, it starts competing with the figure. I don't like that. So I'd rather have a plain stand. This does have a silver plate with Iron Man on it. I don't know if you remember, I showed you a Spider-Man made by Flashpoint a while back. And instead of Spider-Man on it, they had Flashpoint, the name. Can you imagine Hot Toys putting their name here instead of Iron Man? Just wouldn't work. So anyway, I'm going to pause. We're going to pause, and I'm going to put all this stuff away so I don't lose it, and just get the figure out and show you a little bit about the light up process for the figure. So we'll be right back. So we are back, and the neat thing about this figure, even though it has a ton of batteries in it, is that one switch operates the majority of lights. And that switch is in the back. So there's this little indented section here. You just grab the little piece of plastic at the bottom and make sure you just get the end surface layer of plastic. You pull it out, and the switch is right there. You turn it on, and you're going to get lights all over the place. You're going to get a light here, two lights over here, a couple lights here, lights here, lights here, and in the back, a couple lights here, a couple lights here. So the majority of lights go on with just this one switch. And let me put them together and show you where the others are, and then we'll light them all up for you. So, and that goes back real easy. I mean, it's oftentimes you're just pulling and tugging and you're afraid you're going to break something. But this one isn't that bad. For the hands and arms, there's this piece here near the end of the wrist between the red and the gray. You just grab this piece, the gray here, and pull it towards you. And you can even do it with one hand. It just comes off that easily. And you turn that switch on, and there goes his hand. It lights up, and there are a couple lights here. I think that's pretty much it. So that's easy. Just make sure when you put it back together, well, actually, you don't even have to worry too much. It just snaps back on very easily. It's in the thighs that you kind of have to make sure the tabs are in. But the last set of lights are here in the thigh, between the light silver and the black, so the more gray, darker tone here. So you just grab where the gray meets the silver, get your fingernails under there if you can, and just pull it towards you. That's it. And then that goes on. And you get some lights on the side, here, and up here. So he's well lit up. Let's turn that off. What you want to do when you put it back on is just make sure there are tabs on both ends, but if you put the tabs in one side, let me see, I think I'm going to go with this side. It'll just, you pull it, let me go this way. Put the tabs in on the left, on the right leg, tabs in on the left part of the right leg, and then just snap it into place, and you're good to go. It's easy peasy. So we'll pause. I will get him into just a standing pose, nothing fancy, and just make sure all the lights are on. We'll show you him with the lights, the background lights on, and then we'll dim the lights so you can see him lighted up. So we'll be right back. So here he is all lit up, and let me turn him around so you can see some of the lights in the back. They're not as bright. Of course, we don't have the lights turned down all the way, but yeah, he's looking pretty good. And to know that one set of lights, the majority of lights are set in motion by one switch is very nice. So yeah, I think that's the light show pretty much. I just wanted to show you how easy, it's not easy putting the batteries in, it never is, but compared to the struggle I've had with other figures before in terms of putting batteries in, this is not bad. But in terms of accessing the switches to turn the lights on, this is probably one of the easiest figures I've ever had to do that with. So we'll pause now, turn the lights off, and then we'll get him on a turn tray so you can see him from different angles. The really neat thing about this figure is it comes with a little screwdriver. I've never seen that with a figure. But not everyone has these tiny little screwdrivers, so that's kind of a nice touch that they did that. Anyway, here he is without the lights on, just in a standard pose. Didn't do anything fancy here, but we're just going to go around and take a look at him. There are a lot of moving parts on this thing. You can flip things out and in and so forth. These shoulder pieces can be replaced with something that looks more gadgetry if you want it to be, and you could put more rocket-like propellers on his forearms if you want. But no matter how you cut it, I personally love this figure because of the silver on him. So there's silver, there's gold, there's red. And he's slightly distressed. That's another cool thing about this figure. And the stand is just a prop, it looks like, because it's not really holding him up. So he's well balanced, actually. So we'll pause and get a tighter set of close-ups from here on up. So let's go around again at this distance. He is very substantial, and I really think he looks awesome. I mean, if you could just see his head sculpt the way I'm seeing it now, it's fantastic. And I love the silver. There's a mix of gold, silver, and red, and it's slightly distressed. The only thing I see that I should have fixed before I went around is just putting this a little bit lower, because I think it was showing a little skin in here. But that's a nice touch as well. So we'll pause now and get some headshots from side to side. This is a very nice tight close-up. You can see his chest area, the upper part of his body, the slight battle damage going on there. But the head sculpt is really, really detailed. This is what we've come to expect with Hot Toys figures. And there you go. Here's one last look at Iron Man, aka Tony Stark. I hope you've liked what you've seen. If you have, consider giving us a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel. In the meantime, everyone, please have a great day.